Ori, can you tell us a bit more about who you are and what it is that drives you and what's behind your interest in veganism?
Okay, yeah, sure I can. Hi everybody. I'm very excited to be speaking directly to London. By the way, where I was born many years ago. But I was making Aliyah to Israel when I was only 1 year old, so I don't have the British accent, so excuse me from English. My name is Ori Shavit, and actually I was for many years a food writer. I was studying how to cook professionally and pastry cooking, and then I started writing for one of the most well-known gastronomic magazines in Israel called Al Shulchan, means on the table. And after many years of eating everything and everyone that you can imagine, I went vegan, and that completely changed my whole life because I had nothing to write about for my magazine. I had to quit my job. I had to, change my whole identity was changed. And so it was much bigger than just changing my diet because I was dealing with food. That was my profession and my passion and everything I did. And since then, actually, while thinking of where to go next, because I didn't know anything about vegan culinary before, so I decided I will explore this field and, investigate it and even document it on my website. That's called vegansontop.com. And so I started writing recipes and started working with chefs and having amazing 100% vegan dinners in some of the best restaurants in Israel. And today, actually, what I do through all these years, it's been almost 6 years already, I actually work in promoting veganism in general and vegan culinary, to be specific, in Israel and worldwide, wherever I can. I help restaurants to add vegan dishes to their menus, also caterers. For example, I just been last week to Jerusalem, tasting menu for a bat mitzvah for a family that said, if you want help us, we will go for meat or dairy event. And I said, okay, I'll come to Jerusalem. I have to help you out to have an amazing event, which is 100% vegan. So I help anyone who wants to learn that. I'm conducting cooking demos as well, and I speak about veganism with anyone and everywhere that I can.
Thank you.
That's in general.
Thank you. Looking more broadly at Israel as a whole, we're hearing more and more about Israel being on course to become the world's first vegan nation. Can you tell us a bit about why it is that it's Israel where veganism has really taken root?
So what's going on in Israel is amazing. As I told you before, less than 6 years ago, I had nothing to write about vegan food for a gastronomic magazine, so I had to quit my job. And today, Israel is full of restaurants and coffee places that serve vegan dishes, that have vegan menus. Even Domino's Pizza Israel is the only country in the world where they serve vegan pizzas and snacks in all their branches. Things went up so rapidly and strongly that today we have, what they say is that we have the highest percentage of vegans in the population from all the countries in the world, which is about 4 to 5%. And if you include vegetarians, so you have about 13% of the people who don't eat animals, which is an amazing percentage. So if I try to really think of the reasons, we need to have a real study about it and have a research and many years to have this perspective to really understand what happened here. But thinking of few reasons, I can say that first of all, the fact that we're a young nation, we're a nation of immigrants, people that came from all over the world, have different cuisines and different habits that we're mixing together. So people have also this much more open mind when it comes also in general, but also when it comes to their eating habits. They are willing to try new things. They are very curious about different foods. They're used to different cultures and different types of cuisine. So trying veganism is not that hard, and we're not very strict about our foods. Also, the fact that we are in the Mediterranean, and the Mediterranean diet is perhaps the ideal diet to start veganism with. We have so many fruits and vegetables, and lentils and grains already in our diet. Hummus and falafel are our national dishes. You will never start in Israel as a vegan. I mean, every place you go, there's hummus and falafel always. So this is also something that makes it very easy to become a vegan in Israel. Another point is our size. Because we're such a small country, we're 8 million people, and information moves very, very fast. And when something catches on, it's booming, it's like fire. It's like everybody talks about it, it's like everywhere, and especially today with social media, when it becomes so easy to get people, aware of something and make these things go on and everybody talks about it. And another thing I can think of is also the kosher kitchen, the kosher cuisine, because even non-religious people are aware of the fact that, or have this habit of thinking of what we eat as what's in it, is it very meat or is it carb, looking at the labels, reading the tiny letters on the labels, and avoiding few foods, separating foods. All these ideas, people in Israel are used to the concept of, not just eating everything, and thinking about what you eat. So I think that thing helps a lot too. So I think this is a combination of all the things that I was talking about that made Israel like the perfect place for veganism to boom like it's booming today, which is amazing.
Fantastic. Just before I open it up to questions, I'm keen to hear more about the work that you've done with Jewish Veg in America. Can you tell us what you've been doing there and what you think the impact has been?
Sure. So I was very lucky to start working with Jewish Veg more than 2 years ago. Jewish Veg is, perhaps most of you already know them, an organization that promotes veganism through the values of Judaism. And I've met with Jeffrey Cohen, the head of Jewish Veg, and he was very impressed of my work and lectures. I have a TEDx talk if someone wants to see it. It's online on YouTube. And actually, he thought it would be a good idea to bring me over to the States and as a presenter of what's going on in Israel, and through the story of Israel and the connection between Judaism and veganism, we will be able to reach a larger crowd. And actually, it went fantastic. They connected with Hillel International, which is the Jewish home for students in every college, and all these places, so many colleges just invited me through Jewish Veg to come and talk to the students about veganism in Israel and, of course, veganism in general. And in some places, we also had a cooking demo, which was very nice because we made together some pizza and hummus and tabbouleh or falafel or shakshukas. And so it was very nice also to show them the Israeli vegan cuisine. But I think it's fantastic to have the opportunity to show, first of all, to have, for the students, to have some other information about Israel. Israel is not only the conflict and, talking about problems and wars and all the stuff that we hear, but some other things are going on in Israel, and this is a food revolution. This is very appealing for young people, and they're really excited to hear about it. So it's a good angle to start with, talking about what's going on in Israel, and then exploring and showing them the whole benefits of why Israelis are choosing veganism, whether it's about the animals, of course, whether it's the health issue or of course, the environmental issue. And then we can see the immediate effect, because at the end of every talk, they got this pledge that they could ask for joining this email course and having every week information and tips and recipes to help them go towards veganism, whether it's 1 day a week, 2 to 3 days a week, every day of the week, every day but Shabbat, depends on their will. And we had amazing percentage of students filling up these forms, wanting to join this program at the end of my talk. So we know it has an impact. I think it's a great opportunity to connect people who have interest in Israel or in Judaism and make them think about the connection between the two things. And I think people find it very appealing to see how amazing is what's going on in Israel, and to open their eyes and their minds and hearts through that angle. And I wish to do it in England as well. If someone in the crowd wants to start working on such a collaboration, I would love to and try to do it in London and in England in general.
Thank you, Ori. I'm going to open it up to the audience. I know you can't really see us because we're a bit hard to see, but does
It's a bit dark, but I can see some faces.
does anybody have a question for Ori? Marilyn, would you like to?
Yes, you mentioned that the reason why people are becoming vegan in Israel is there's 3 reasons. You said one was health, one was environment, and one was for the animal welfare issue. I'm very interested in animal welfare. That's why I became vegetarian in the beginning. And I've been to Israel lots of times, and there are, I'm afraid from the outsider's point of view, animals aren't treated that well. There's an awful lot of stray animals about. And how does that fit in with, what you're saying and how young people feel?
You're asking about the stray dogs and stray cats that are in Israel.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So of course we have a lot to deal with. It's not an easy situation, and I can say that we have a lot of progress also in that field. And of course, for vegan or vegetarians or people who care about animals in general and are not yet vegan or vegetarians, this is a huge issue, and we all deal with that on an everyday basis, and working on saving those animals. So I can even tell you that in my building there is like this cat lady, and we fight against for example, we have a law that you cannot move cats from place to place because it's against their nature. So neighbors cannot just, make cats disappear, and that authorities have to treat them and, I can see you guys suddenly. and that, you have to make, I don't know the word in English, but to make it impossible for them to have puppies. Okay, so it's also something. Yeah,
There's a group called Spay Israel. I know them. Yes.
Yeah, it's something that is progressing all the time. Of course, it is still a huge problem, but I believe that it will be better, and that awareness is rising in that matter as well. Not only about food, but about animals in general, also wildlife and all kinds of animals.
Because that's why, well, from my point of view, why I've started being vegetarian and vegan, because I don't want to eat other creatures. So I'm just wondering how much that chimes in with the people that are joining your movement.
So we've got two other questions that I want to squeeze in before we run out of time.
Sorry.
That's okay, no, that's all right. We will set up a way that you can contact Ori, but I'm aware we've got 2 more people, so I can take Brian and then we take you up.
Gavin
as
had a
well.
question.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so Brian, you go first.
Hi Ori, hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Hi there. I'm just wondering about how many members of the Knesset were vegan and whether they're having any influence on legislation for animal welfare.
Oh yeah, so I can tell you happily that there are not that many, but there are at least 2 100% vegan members of the Knesset, and few more are vegetarians. But many more than those are members of Knesset that are devoted to help the animals in every, we have this group of members of the Knesset that works on laws and other forms of legislation to improve the situation of animals of all kinds, dogs and cats, and of course in the livestock industry. And we have a lot of success with that group of members of the Knesset. First of all, we had few times a day of animal rights in the Knesset, a whole day that was devoted to meetings and pursuing legislation, and we had a 100% vegan lunch for the members of the Knesset in the Knesset dining room, which I by the way made together with the chef of the Knesset. So we have a lot of events, a lot is going on to promote this issue. And I can tell you that even one of the groups in the Knesset, of the parties, they actually put this on their election campaign. There was in the last campaign, they wanted to promote the fact that they had 2 or 3 vegans in the first 10 in their list. The first 10 candidates in their list, a few of them were vegans, and they actually made it as part of their campaign, which was never done before in election campaigns. So they understand it's something that the public really cares about and really wants to see progress in, and they respond to it. And I can say proudly that we have few laws that are very progressive, even comparing to most of the countries in the world. And so this is, it makes me a little bit hopeful. Though I want to see the cages open now, but legislation is part of the way to get there.
Thank you.
I hope you can hear me. It's a pleasure to hear from you. I'm the secretary of the Jewish Society of the Queen Mary University of London. So I wanted to ask you if you have any time in September or October so that you can come and talk to the students of the Jewish Society and the students of my university about Judaism and veganism and Israel becoming one of the first ever vegan countries in the world.
I would love to, and I'm sure we can find the time to do it. I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's so important. If I can use the story of Israel for me, what happens in Israel is amazing, and I'm very proud to be part of this growing movement in Israel. But for me, if I think about it, what is the main reason why this small country is moving forward with this issue? Even if we're going to be 100% vegan, it won't change the situation in the whole world. What we can do is take this example, this amazing thing that's going on in Israel, and use it worldwide to show people all over the world, to give them inspiration and to show them how you can change not only your person's diet, but change your whole country. And today we have also amazing percentage of people that reduce the consumption of animal products, and surveys show that it is about 30 to 30% of the population. It means more than a third of Israelis are changing their diet towards vegetarianism and veganism. That's a lot. So if I can use this story and this amazing thing to bring this, example anywhere you will invite me around the world, I think this is a role in this growing movement all over the world. This is the role of Israel that can use its story to promote veganism worldwide. So I would love to come. Please feel free to contact me, and we will arrange it and see how we can perhaps also have some more talks in few other places as well at the same time if I'm already coming over. And I would love to come.
Thank you very much.